Hey everyone, can you believe it's already almost the new year?
Or
2023.
by the time they're listening, it is the new
Oh
year.
yeah,
I don't
this is
know when
true.
I'll get this out. So Happy New
So
Year.
okay, we'll start over. Hey
No,
everyone.
I'll put that in.
Happy New Year everyone. I'm reporting to you live from Japan. Ryan is where?
Live from Ohio.
There you go. We just want to take a quick minute and say thank you for all the listening and support, but also we're going to do a little quick episode of reflection and other things to look forward to for our 2023 year coming forward. First off, we just have to say a big shout out to all the people who have given us the time to listen to our episodes. And we really appreciate that, whether that be locally. Honestly, as surprised as we are seeing worldwide statistics, which is pretty amazing. We're just keeping on pushing ahead and trying to get the good word out for y'all.
I want to add to that. We're also grateful to all of the professionals and aspiring bonsai artists and ceramicists that took the time to be the interview subjects. Because honestly, at the beginning, we were just messing around, seeing how this would go. And we didn't have a strong reason why anyone should come talk to us. We're just two guys with a microphone. So thanks to all those people who trusted us enough with their stories.
The organic process of life. Also too, within that, I think I've learned, especially within this reflection piece we're talking about now, a better understanding of how professionals and non-professionals do the work-life or life bonsai balance, whether that be professionally or not professionally. That helps me significantly as also being a new father. Ryan, I know with your PhD, how does that help you?
I'm just trying to keep my work moving forward and keep my bonsai moving forward at the same time. Like, I don't want my bonsai to become stagnant or my bonsai knowledge to become stagnant. So it is kind of always a pull between these two, trying to keep them both prioritized. You understand?
100%.
I think you're going through the same thing because with juniper, you were saying that you had to go out and like prune a little bit while you're watering and things like that. But it's good to know that we aren't the only ones trying to hit that balance and keep, our bonsai being taken very seriously. And it's nice to hear some of the strategies that people have adopted, like the people that we interview have adopted in doing that. So
definitely. On top of that, with the people we've interviewed, but also the people that haven't been interviewed that I personally met at the Pacific Bonsai Expo or anywhere, around any kind of event I've been to this year, that people have come up to me and said that they appreciate the podcast. We really appreciate that feedback. Definitely helps us just in knowing our target audience, but also what we can keep going with and what we can improve on. Our plans for this year going forward into however long we're able to keep this movement going with the podcast. Hopefully we don't run out of episodes to talk to people with, but we enjoy and looking forward to talking to new artists. We're looking forward to interviewing new people professionally, non-professionally. That goes for all our listeners too. If you guys have any questions, you feel like you want to ask certain people, whether it's an email to us, bonsai-time-podcast.com or bonsai-time-podcast@gmail.com. Please feel free to give those to us. We'd love to ask them for you in our availability with the artist or person of interest.
Yeah, and one thing I want to note is that on the landing page for bonsai-time-podcast.com, there is actually a form that people can use to submit questions. And, if people start using that enough, we could even update that form with who we're going to interview next. And then people could ask questions specific to the next interview subject. There is that, and there's also the show notes, which I'm not sure that a lot of people have been utilizing, but oftentimes we put like details, like the pictures of what we're talking about. if you're listening to the audio version of this podcast, or some links to the artist's work or like relevant resources to what we were discussing. So those are both resources that people should keep in mind are available.
Definitely. Yeah. And that goes along to what Ryan was saying and myself. We want to have more involvement from our listeners. The more productivity we can have with you all, the more home runs we hope to hit. And, we just are doing this for you all as we just want to create this bigger dynamic of everything is accessible. Nothing is out of reach. Right. And, our goals for the podcast, we are planning to do more travel interviews to where we will go travel to people's places and interview them on site, if time allows, but also, health and wellness of everybody too. We have some new episodes coming up with certain artists that are neighboring states of Ohio, which will be fun, a little easier to travel to. Maybe we may have some from Japan in the future. Who knows? We're working on details, but look forward for that.
Luckily we have Kevin as our booking agent over here in Japan. It makes it a lot easier.
Can all thank my wife and my daughter Juniper. She was a very big talking point of her name. Side note, when I went to some bonsai shows over here, they saw my daughter and they asked her name, and we said her Japanese name, and then we said her American name, being Juniper, and mostly, if not everybody who does bonsai over here, said Shimpaku. So it was kind of funny. They were like, wow, that's amazing.
Shimpaku means juniper in Japanese. It's not like
essentially Shimpaku is the equivalent of our juniper reference, because Shimpaku is a style. It wasn't necessarily Itogawa, but Shimpaku is the productive amount of
Gotcha. So what is juniper's Japanese name? It's not Shimpaku. It's
no. That'll be funny. We were worried about that actually. So juniper's Japanese name is Jun, Jun, but it's not written in kanji. It's written in hiragana, which is the character alphabet that they use for Japanese native words. A little side note: hiragana and katakana and kanji. Hiragana and kanji are intermixed. Katakana is used specifically for non-Japanese words. It's like potato. Other American words, other words that are non-Japanese words, are utilized in this katakana form. Very confusing in certain details, but very necessary for all Japanese purposes. Side note, Ryan. But Ryan, what are things you're looking forward to for this new year, as far personally, bonsai, otherwise, but also for the podcast?
Well, one thing we didn't mention when we were talking about the reflections was we kind of knew at the beginning that we didn't have the very best audio equipment, and we were just kind of like starting this and seeing how it goes before we invested a lot of money on top of volunteering our time. So for all of those who bore with us through the first year of episodes, because we're only just now starting to record interviews with our new recording gear, which hopefully will give you guys more crystal clear audio, less background noise, and save me time in editing. So that's one thing I'm looking forward to, because it will save me a lot of time in churning the episodes out, and it will also give us a higher quality product.
Definitely. Yeah. So we apologize and greatly thank you for
and then
listening.
People can give us feedback on other things instead. Of course, we appreciate all feedback, but hopefully we can cross that one off the list.
Definitely. And we'll get better as we go. Like Ryan said, this has been our organic process, which I think sometimes is the best, because we're just doing this for fun. We don't ever see ourselves becoming professional podcasters.
Yeah. Although we could come up with a lot of ideas if we just had more time to put into it, We already have too many ideas and not enough time. So
I think you told me I'm the idea guy, and I have so many ideas, and it's hard to keep track.
It's my job to pump the brakes and be like, okay, let's do one at a time, so I'm not buried.
It's a healthy relationship. But as far as going back to the question of some things you're looking for your 2023, going for the future, even past 2023, what are things you're looking forward to as far as your personal bonsai practice and also for the podcast?
So yeah, I'll stay on the podcast first. So I already mentioned we're looking forward to getting episodes with the new equipment out to you all. I'm looking forward to meeting new bonsai artists through this, from all levels, and sharing stories of people that we probably should know more about. You know what I mean? But for whatever reason, they haven't been interviewed yet, or they don't have an online presence, or
Exactly.
So many reasons could be the reason. Or maybe there's a language barrier, and maybe they just don't want to spend their time advertising themselves, but in fact they're actually very good. There's all sorts of people out there doing bonsai, so we just have to go out and find them and hear what they have to teach us. So those are two big things I'm looking forward to in the podcast side. And personally, looking forward to digging more Yamadori, doing more experiments, and then hopefully at some point having more time to write up the results of those experiments. Yes. So, as a scientist, it's very important for me to write down the data and then analyze the data and see how that fits in with the plant science research. But of course, all of that is time consuming. So I'll just do it piece at a time, and see what there is to learn from our trials.
And this specific data set is taken from an experiment Ryan and I have been trying to detail in factor of seasonal digging, specifically Ohio, Southern Ohio. We won't go into full detail. We'll probably have an episode about it later, but just as a little snippet, we've been looking at how to perform proper seasonal digging with certain how would you describe it? Certain
it's mostly
implementation.
deciduous, mixture of Eastern American deciduous species. Yeah,
Midwest Eastern, native species, and how to implement proper technique, care, and all things considered.
Yeah. So awesome. Since I am a scientist, as I mentioned, this past year was the first year that I decided I'm actually going to treat my bonsai like I treat my day job and keep track of everything. And then, so now I have these data sets, so we'll see what there is to learn from that. But so that's actually only one of the experiments that I'm running. I have an experiment about cuttings as well, trying to find the optimal size for a ficus cutting. So we'll see what comes out of that. And then my third experiment, it was about optimal substrate for the recovery of plants when you dig them. So trying to find a cheaper substitute for pumice. And of course, I just want to take this time to encourage everyone else to do some experiments and write down your results and then share them with us, because that's how we all learn collectively.
Ethical experiments.
Ethical experiments. Yeah.
Conservational experiments. There we go.
Yeah. So we could get into a whole tangent about this. We should save it for another episode, because we can walk people through this more.
I just wanted to give you all a little snippet of what we're doing outside of the podcast. We're busy, but we're making time for making better information coming, ideally, and hopefully that's what we're doing.
So Kevin, what are you looking forward to in your collection?
As far as podcast related things, I think I discussed a little bit of mine, but I'll go a little further. On the same page as Ryan, just interviewing these people and hearing stories has been a wonderful opportunity, and will continue to be a good opportunity. And just also, I will say, getting to know you better, Ryan. We met only 3 years ago now. Is it 3 years ago?
Does the email count, or
yeah, right, correspondence.
Really,
ghosting me a little bit.
So right now we're recording this right before New Year's Eve, so it was a little over 2 years ago.
Okay, it was okay.
Crazy, yeah.
Yeah, because I've been in Ohio now for over 4 years now, almost 4.5 now, which is pretty crazy. Time's flown by. No, I will say, becoming more like friends in regards to being bonsai friends, but also pushing each other more in our bonsai approach has been the best thing. And I think too, we have a solidified group of people that we can call bonsai family, that we've kind of not started, but integrated together now, I think, as far as getting the board better, things in that way. Podcast wise, also just learning how this all works, step by step, interviewing people of all ages, all genders, all walks of life, I think will be the best beneficial thing I can think of us doing as well. Because there's other communities that we haven't approached yet, LGBTQ, other people in certain life situations, I think we'll be able to come on to and give a better voice to as well. That's one of my goals for this year, is to have a voice for all people, all walks of life. And I think that will be a good benefit for everybody. Personally, I do have some great things coming up. For sure everyone listening to this probably already knows. If they don't know, I was the recipient of the Ben Oki Scholarship this year, 2022, which was an amazing effort. I didn't think I'd win, and I won, and it was actually got the notification the day my daughter came home with us. So it was an even better surprise. Thank you, Bob Pressler and California Bonsai Society, and Doyle Sato and everyone over there. Much love to you all. So I'll be utilizing that to do some classes, and then I will report on that as well when the time comes. Post class, I'll be taking certain people. I'll let you know who I took them with at that time. I look forward to doing more things with the Ohio State Bonsai Club that Ryan and I have just started getting it off the ground. It's been very difficult at times, to say the least. Interesting bureaucratic things and hoops to jump through, which is a good learning experience for both of us. If I can say that right. Just, also being enlightened more as, I'm a new dad, but also my daughter growing. It's given me more appreciation for trees and just starting trees from seed and all shapes, life, ages of trees. Because every day my daughter's changing. Every day our trees are changing, just not as fast. So it's given me a different appreciation for life and how I approach my trees now. Also with my time spent with my trees is more productive. So pushing more with that, because productive is good. I'm just really happy that we started this podcast. We've been talking about it for a while since we met. We both have had ideas to start a podcast, and I'm glad it came together. I think it's good. I think it benefits the community. What are your thoughts on that? Any regrets?
The only thing I regret is that it took us so long to come up with a name, and then we picked such an obvious name. Why couldn't we have come up with that months earlier? We would have gotten started way easier.
It was too simple. We were looking for a shtick.
Yeah.
No.
It all came together.
We don't think too highly of ourselves in the way of like, oh, we're doing this to do this. We're just wanting to be just the people to help people know information. The same with us starting the Ohio State Bonsai Club. I feel like we can say that we're just trying to improve for the next generation and after. Maybe all we're talking about now is just going to go to the wayside someday and be like, that's old news.
It's weird to think about the next generation, because most people from where they're standing, we are the next generation.
Right.
So it's more like we're trying to educate the people from our own age group to some extent, or like just the newer people in bonsai, and help them get more information.
Well, example, we met that little guy. He's 8 years old at Franklin Park Conservatory. I swear he was the next form of John Naka, because he's an 8-year-old that knew that this was a Japanese pot by this maker, and then knew that this was an American pot. And I was like, huh? And he knew that it was a maple, the
Black Hill spruce. And
I was like, that's your favorite tree? He's like, yeah, Black Hill spruce. I'm like, you're 8 years old. I know grown men that don't even know that tree or work with that tree.
Well, this podcast is out there forever, so
it's true.
Hello, next generation.
True. Yeah, I was like, blow the dust off later on. Right?
Yeah.
Is there anything more you can think of, Ryan, that we haven't discussed as far as what to keep looking out for our listeners, and or what we're going to be looking forward to doing next?
I just wanted to kind of not hammer excessively, hopefully, but say one more time how much we appreciate the feedback that we got
Definitely.
Especially like Kevin, you had mentioned all these people that you didn't know came up to you at the Pacific Bonsai Expo. And for me, hearing those stories helps keep me motivated because, I'm just editing and, we put things out and I don't necessarily hear a lot back. So if you have comments on the episodes, we're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, we're on Gmail, bonsai-time-podcast@gmail.com. We're here if anybody wants to chat bonsai.
Oh, and I am personally trying to get Ryan to more shows. So, given this face to a name, this voice,
I'll go
working
eventually.
on it next year.
My problem is I really want to go when I have a tree to show, but then I dig all of my trees myself, and so they take a while to get presentable.
Yeah. These things happen. But in good time, I will change Ryan's mind that he can just attend to have fun.
Yeah. No, I was talking with Rob. I might go with him to help him set up his booth sometime or something like that. So
do it as much as you can. It'll be the best productive experience of learning and experience that you can get.
Yeah,
cool.
I look forward to it.
Awesome. Well, I thank you for your time, man. Always a pleasure talking to you, my friend. And I look forward to an awesome 2023 with you in this experience of podcast.
Kevin, speaking of, there's one other person I didn't thank for our first year of podcasting, and that's you.
So, thank you.
Thank you for being our traveling interviewer for some of our episodes and for helping get this idea started.
Takes two people to make it work. So likewise, my friend. Until next time.
Bonsai on.
Bonsai on. All right.
Today's episode has been recorded, produced, and edited by Kevin Ferris and Ryan Houston. Our music was provided by MIDI Cancer. To find more music from MIDI Cancer, check out their SoundCloud and Bandcamp pages. To find more information on the podcast, please check out our Instagram page, Bonsai Time Podcast, and our website, bonsai-time-podcast.com. To stay in touch with us, Kevin's Instagram is Kevin_Ferris, PNW, and Ryan's website is right2tree2.com. You can find these links in the description below. Thank you for listening, and bonsai on!